And we're going to start with Tessa Quinn from National Galleries Scotland. Okay.
The clicker.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Tessa, as I said, from National Galleries Scotland, and I'm going to tell you about the Art Hunter app that we created in 2013, and it's still going. The idea of the app came about from a funding initiative that Nesta provided, and apart from just saying thank you to Nesta for giving us the money, it's quite important to why we developed this and how we developed this. One of the things that this fund insisted on was the fact that the project had to be innovative. So it wasn't necessarily technologically innovative, but definitely for the sector, it had to be trying to do something different because there was going to be a research part to it. And the other thing that was absolutely critical of this project is that you couldn't apply for this funding without having a technology partner in place. So you had to select your technology partner before the project was actually funded and started. We selected our technology partner. They're not here today, Coulton. And we did that just by having a complete ideas session with them. We didn't come to them with a pre-prepared idea. We came to them and we'd worked together before and we tried to come up with an idea together. I have to say that was totally different for us. We were very much used to deciding what we want, working out what solution we need, as Colin was talking about there, and then finding the partner. Because of this, it became a far more kind of equal project. And actually, the idea, when I say there, someone said, people really like lists, that actually came from one of the Coulton developers. So they felt ownership from the front, and I think that partnership has been very key to the project. The idea of Art Hunter, as I said, came from that people really love lists. And what we wanted to do is see if we could develop a mobile app rather than that simulated the gallery experience, actually changed people's gallery experience. We wanted to see if we could persuade people to see artworks they wouldn't have thought about seeing that was maybe out their comfort zone. We wanted to look if we could actually take the very casual kind of gallery visitor and make them more engaged, make them dwell longer. And we also wanted to try and see if we could work in partnerships across Scotland, not just looking at our own galleries, but seeing if we could actually make people walk from the fruit market into the National Gallery or go from an exhibition in Edinburgh to one in Fife. So those were the things that we wanted to do. And we came up with the idea of Art Hunter. And the other thing we wanted to do is see if there was an appetite for kind of a game concept within our visitors. And Art Hunter has a game concept in it. We had barriers, the first one being that we had a no mobile phone policy in the galleries. It's one thing to think about your whole experience. We did know that that was a barrier before we asked for the funding. It's amazing once we got the funding how we were able to overcome that barrier, and it has changed the whole visitor experience in a national organisation. And I have to say, apart from Art Hunter, that's been an incredibly positive thing for us to do, and for our visitors and for our staff. So the project had 3 parts to it, and I think it's always important in a project of this scale to remember that there's a technical development, there's content. Content is absolutely critical, and content was not just for us to develop, it's for our partners to develop. And of course, there's that organisational change part of this project we're talking about. So I'm going to show you what we did, hopefully. Oh, goodness. There. launched in 2013, and these are the stats that we have to date. So we've got a lot more downloads on iOS than we have on Android, and the sessions rates is remaining high. So we obviously had a kind of peak around launch time, but there are kind of ongoing downloads, and many people come back for repeat sessions. Feedback, we tried to get as much feedback as we could. Some was good, and we found that one of our ambitions to change people, how people looked at art galleries or maybe behaved in them. There was definitely a lot of evidence that happened. We also got quite some bad feedback, and that was particularly from people who couldn't actually come to the galleries. We designed Art Hunter for the physical gallery visitor. We talked about how we could service non-gallery visitors at the time, but we found out it was going to be very hard to do, or we felt it was going to be very hard to do, but it did mean that the non-gallery visit, this quote here came from somebody from California, so they couldn't come to the gallery, and they were very disappointed with what we did. So what we learned from this, I don't know if you noticed in the video, but how we marketed Art Hunter was by a leaflet, which seems very counterintuitive. And I think we found that actually that you have to market your digital product in this respect, and that that's not always that easy to do. Content, again, we've talked a lot about content, but once you launch it, you need to keep it up to date, you need to keep it fresh, you need to keep it moving. And you have to plan that in at the beginning of your project, not the end. The collaboration with the technology partners was incredibly positive, and that additional ownership they felt over this and meant the contributions that everyone was making together and the team that was built between the two organisations was very positive. We also found, I think, that by actually having the challenge of having to do something differently, we maybe did something better, and we kind of thought differently, and we thought about our user more. And the whole thing about evaluation and iteration, and that's very much led on to what happened next. This year, last year, Generation had exhibitions across Scotland. Art Hunter was adapted and made positive and made to be used across all these venues and to drive people around the whole exhibition programme. The other thing we did was start unlocking some of the content, so it became a remote experience as well. You didn't have to be inside the galleries to use it. And again, the partnerships working across Scotland continued. Okay.
Hello, I'm Damien, and I'm the second part of the National Gallery's double act here today. I'm just going to talk quite quickly about a Twitter tour that we ran recently. I work for National Galleries of Scotland and also for Tate on a project called Artist Rooms. It's a shared collection between the two galleries, and it's also a nationwide tour that's funded by Arts Council England, the Art Fund and Creative Scotland. So we do about 15 to 18 shows right around the UK every year. We're having a very busy year. In the last month, we've opened shows in Kirkcaldy, Clydebank, and just last week here in Edinburgh, we opened the new Roy Lichtenstein show. But today I'm speaking about the last show we had in Edinburgh, which was Louise Bourgeois, which was a very, very popular show, big name artist, and we had a lot of great feedback from that. And we did already have a lot of attention coming from outside Edinburgh and outside Scotland in that artist. It was the first show that we had done with those works. So you might be familiar with Louise Bourgeois because of her giant spiders, which is normally what people recognize in her work. And the show ran for quite a while. It's October until May 2014 was when it closed. So we decided we would try and bring the experience of seeing this show, which has been very popular to people outside of Edinburgh, and to introduce them both to the artist, to the Artist Rooms tour, and also to National Galleries and the Modern Gallery up on Belford Road. So I think a lot of this is not about the fact that doing something through Twitter is all that innovative, but it was just about how we managed to bring a lot of partners together and collaborating to produce something that felt quite kind of immersive and quite enjoyable for people, even if they weren't necessarily in a position to come and visit the gallery, as we were just hearing there. So this is just a few screen grabs. I don't have any videos of chocolate cake, unfortunately, today. So I have a lot of screen grabs of tweets. You'll have to make do with those. So that's just the initial kind of promotion that we did through National Galleries and through the Artist Rooms account as well. Tate, who are our partners as well, have huge following, like 1.4 million followers on Twitter, so getting them on board to promote this early was a real benefit, to be able to spread that to a real global audience that they have already captured, which led to, as I said, we partnered with a few of these people in advance about how we would promote that, but there's also some of the kind of unexpected people that got on board, including this museum in St. Petersburg, I believe it is, who were big fans and joined in throughout the tour. But a lot of that just came from the reach that some of the accounts that we did partner with already had. So this is just a quick glimpse of the tour. It was based on the hashtag NGS tour, keeping it as short as possible. So this is the curator of the show, Lucy Askew. So what we did was we started planning this kind of weeks in advance about how this would be structured, kind of a maximum number of tweets, what time of day this would go out. And I kind of collaborated with Lucy, who had written a catalogue, and she had written wall text for this show. And we worked together with her adding words and me subtracting them so that we could fit them into a tweet with an image, which is not easy when you're discussing contemporary artwork, to condense it into that space. That's the back of my head in front of one of the works. And that's just a reminder, because Louise Bourgeois is an artist that obviously is still in copyright, and we work very closely with the estate who manage the copyright. They're quite wary of high-res images being made available online, so all the images were taken a few days earlier, resized down to resolution that they approved of, and then sent to them in advance. So a lot of preparation went into this to make sure that it met those requirements, and they were keen to not necessarily have full views of the work, so that's why I'm in the way, unfortunately. And again, it's just people kind of interacting with the work, so that it's not the kind of shot that people might want to reproduce in kind of publications and things like that. It's not a full view of the work. But you can see the kind of short kind of snippets of information about the artist and her work that we've included here. That's a screen grab. I'm not going to try and show you vines because I haven't embedded them properly and I fear for the technology. But we use things like Vine, which is very useful to get around some of the 3D works. This is quite a small bronze sculpture that's hanging in the middle of the room. So it was to recreate the experience of being able to go around that work and really get a sense of the size and scale of it. We collected a whole load of responses, again, from all over the world, people who were joining in, people who had come to see the show already, who wanted to learn more, people who were from very far away and could never come and visit, and also then people who did decide that they were going to come and catch the show before it finished on the back of this tour. When we fielded questions, the curator was on hand on the day when this went out live during the middle of the day, to respond to questions, and even questions that were coming in over the next 24 hours. We made sure to respond to those as quick as we could. We storified the whole thing. Again, I have a link there, but I'm not going to go to it, which is great to be able to put that out as one full view of the entire thing that evening, and then in the future after that. And we had the Edinburgh main account and also the Institut Français, who were big supporters of the show and promoting it because of French connection with the artist. So to sum up, this is kind of how I felt. The important parts of it were the collaboration that worked across several organizations, different funders, different partners that were involved in that, all getting behind it. Also just within the organization to collaborate with curatorial, with marketing, with press, digital. So a lot of us came together to help make this a success. And when we talk about how social might seem like a free marketing tool, this took up a lot of staff time to prepare this. So we recognized that we were putting that in, but we were going to get huge benefit, which we did see impact on it after the tour for the remaining time in the show. As I said, why we did it was to give a new kind of interesting view. It hadn't been done in the galleries here in Edinburgh before. It's been done, obviously other museums and galleries have been doing this for the last few years. But it was the first time for this team to try that, and it did provide us with something that then we can use for the future. We continue to tour these works. They're on show in Southampton now, but we still have this Storify resource that we can use to promote any of our upcoming shows and to keep people involved, just to have that at hand all the time. As I talked about, they're free tools, but making sure that we use them well, use different mediums like Vine to use each to their strength, and the importance of following up with any of the responses and questions. And as I said, the idea has been used by all sorts of people, and I think anybody in this room could possibly repurpose that idea for their own kind of needs, and it's important to realize that it's not detracting from a physical visitor. It's if you can give as real an experience through this medium, you're just going to improve your potential audience's knowledge of what the experience at your venue is like.
Hi, I'm Andrew Coulton from InGenerator, and I'm here to talk today about the Edinburgh Festival's Listings API. I know you've heard about APIs earlier, but maybe some people aren't aware what one is. API stands for Application Programming Interface. So we provide an interface for people who want to program applications that use Edinburgh Festival's listings data. And we've been looking after that project for the festivals for a couple of years now. So in short, it's a database. It's a database that pulls in the listings from all 12 festivals, some from their websites, some from automated feeds. I'm not going to talk you through every tiny detail on this slide. We take the details, the listings in, we make them in a consistent format, we add change tracking to them and search facility over the top, and then we pass them out to listings websites, to festivals' own internal management systems, to media partners. And media partners are a big part of what the API does. In the past, the festivals used to have to one-on-one work with media partners, come up with some sort of spreadsheet that would work for them, and the others collate all of that, keep it up to date. The API takes that on, and they can simply feed the listings to us, and we feed them out in whatever format the media partner needs them. So it's got all of the 12 festivals listings much more consistently out there across media, and made life much easier for everyone. The chances are, if you've seen festival listings in Edinburgh in the last couple of years anywhere, they've come through the Listings API service. But the other thing the API does is it provides a place for third-party application developers to bring ideas that are from completely outside the festivals. So a great example of that, last year, Dukas, one of the Fringe's major sponsors, wanted a simple, fun application that would be useful to just to kind of build on that brand association and make the most of that sponsorship. And they worked with Edinburgh agency Deco to produce this app. It's a lovely concept, just a straightforward mapping application, really. It shows you where the Fringe venues are and where you can get a pint of Dukas. Obviously, they knew where you could get a pint of Dukas, but in the past, working out where the Fringe venues are might have been a bit of a faff. Not least because they didn't want just the location, they also wanted a bit of copy, they wanted to know opening hours, they wanted the phone number for the venue. And historically, someone would have had to do that, they'd have had to collate all that information, they'd have had to keep it up to date as it changed over the summer. And that might have been a barrier in the past to this sort of project happening. Because of the API, before Dukas even spoke to the Fringe, they and Deco had worked out how they would build the app. They knew they could do it. They knew they could get the data live, continuously up to date. They knew how much it would cost them to build an integration against the API. The API itself is free, but the developer time. And so all they really had to do was go to the Fringe and say, do you mind? And the Fringe, of course, were delighted. And I think the plan for next year is to build on this application and add in listings, live festival listings, so the kind of extra thing of what can I go and see at the festivals before or after my pint of Dukas. A great bit of brand association and sponsorship activation for Dukas, a useful thing for customers, and something that the Fringe got without having to do any extra work. And so that's the kind of the benefit that the API has brought, that you can have these extra channels for exposing information about what's going on at the festivals to new audiences, to people who might not in the past have directly engaged with the festivals. And really the possibilities for that are limitless. So in terms of takeaways, what could the Festivals API do for you, for your tourism business, for your technology business? Well, if you have content that might be usefully enhanced by knowing about what's on at the festivals, you can use the API. It's open access for the 11 festivals other than the Fringe. You simply have to register. For the Fringe, you also have to tell us what you'd like to do, and the Fringe have an approval process through that, but it's straightforward. So maybe you want to show listings on your website, as simple as that. Maybe you want to integrate them with your location-based application. Maybe you want to use them as queues, tying in with some of the kind of Google things that we mentioned earlier about, can you do tie-ups between your hotel availability and what's happening in the city that weekend right through the year? Really, the possibilities are only limited by what you can imagine doing. And the other takeaway is, if you have content yourselves, if you have details about what's happening when, if you have location-based data about visitor attractions in the city, I'd really encourage you to look at exposing that as an API yourselves. It doesn't have to be expensive, it doesn't have to be complicated. A simple kind of machine-readable feed from your website would be enough. But then that allows you, again, to be out there publishing that content, and it allows people to use that and marry it up in ways that you hadn't really thought of. And that might include marrying it with festivals data or not. But it gets your business, your visitor attraction in front of visitors who might not otherwise have been aware that it was there.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Lorna Macleod. I'm from Raddisson Blue Hotel in Edinburgh, and I'm Director of Sales. I'm going to show you a little bit about social media in relation to working in a hotel that is a brand and part of an international hotel group. Raddisson Blue is part of the Carlson Residor Hotel Group. And to give you some figures there, we have 1,300 hotels worldwide, 209,000 rooms, 80,000 employees, 100 countries, and we have 7 billion system-wide worldwide sales. So when it comes to social media, a lot of people might think, well, it's quite easy, you're part of a brand, international hotel group, but it actually brings its own challenges. Within Carlson Residor, we have a very strong ethos. We have Think Planet, Think People, and Think Together. We also have a 4D strategy. That 4D strategy is all about development, delight, drive, and deliver. And when considering social media in the hotel, we felt it was really important that we encompass the 4D strategy within the social media strategy. Now, within Edinburgh, for those of you not aware, obviously where we're located on the Royal Mile, but we also have a sister hotel here in Edinburgh, which is the G&V Hotel, which is located just further up on the Royal Mile and used to be Hotel Masoni. So whilst on social media, we do work quite closely together, we do retain separate brands. The social collaborative social media plan is quite concise. First of all, we looked at develop, which is important about creation. We looked at the platforms that we wanted to consider, which was Pinterest, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Google+. Now, for two of us in the sales office, that's quite a challenge to deliver on a daily basis, making sure that the content's good and that we have meaningful engagement. So we looked at the team in the hotel, and we decided that we had to take responsibility to make sure that not only did we have support in the hotel, that we'd actually provide training in terms of social media. So first of all, we looked at our front of house staff, and we were very fortunate that we had a very enthusiastic front of house staff, particularly on concierge, who were keen to learn how to use social media, not just for their own benefit, but also for the company, and how they could enhance the guest experience at the hotel. Implementation takes a little bit longer. So we went through the training process, and we started off, first of all, with Facebook and Twitter. Facebook standard hotel page, and also Twitter. We then looked at also going on to Pinterest, because Pinterest is a really strong platform, particularly for the US market, and that's a key market for us. YouTube, we got our chef involved, and also Ichiku Bar and Kitchen. YouTube has been extremely successful for us. We have a chef who's very proactive on our YouTube page, and to date, in one of his recipes that we have a video, he's exceeded over 110,000 hits on YouTube. We also, for our own rankings, signed up for Google+, and this is a new one for us, and we continue to try and develop this. But it's a different type of platform for us, and we need a little bit of support on that. So it's taken a little bit of time to get used to it, but it's something certainly that we're very aware is very important to increase our rankings. First of all, this is our page here for our Facebook page. We have a very successful engagement on Facebook, and we looked at the Facebook page and we decided that we really need to ensure that we delight our guests and that we have meaningful engagement. And we felt that the Facebook page was fine for leisure and for interaction, but we felt we needed to create a page solely for our guests that is live and interactive. So we created our concierge page. Concierge Facebook page is available 24 hours a day. We guarantee a turnaround time of 1 hour between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. And this enables our guests really to have an interaction, whether it be for conference requirements or whether it be for seeking out a restaurant in Edinburgh, a recommendation, or whether it be as simple as seeking out tickets for specific events in the city. Bear with me a second. Seems to have a little bit of a problem here, so bear with me a second. This is some of our engagement here, actually, on our actual YouTube page. This is not correlating with what I have here, so I'm just going to be very honest here and just carry on talking to you at the moment. One of the elements that we do have, which we felt was really, really important in terms of connection with our guests while they stay with us, is we created a concept called Tweet Dreams. Now, Tweet Dreams, you'll see the cards on the table. I've put a set selection, just a couple on each table. And when a guest checks into the hotel, we actually give them this card. And what it enables them to do is really for us to be able to interact with them while they're staying. Because as a hotel, it's really important for us to know that our guests are happy with the experience, that we exceed their customer expectations, and also that we get feedback from them. So when they check in, they have this card, and this card will tell them that if they interact with us on Twitter, we will then retweet with a discount, which they are able to use in our food and drink outlets. This has been really, really successful and has actually generated revenue in our food and drink outlets. And it was also very popular with our corporate market who come in Monday through to Friday, who perhaps will then be enticed to come and dine with us in Ichiku. This also can be used to drive the leisure business at the weekends, so we can choose when we want to actually give this to guests. If we have a particular event in the hotel, if we have a large conference, we can utilise this facility to drive revenue through the hotel. But more importantly, it also gives us the opportunity to make sure that we can sometimes put things right if something isn't right, that it will encourage the guests to tweet to our concierge, and where we have the opportunity then to speak to the guests face to face and say, look, let us put it right now for you before you leave the hotel. Because as we all know, it's more difficult to put something right when the guest has left. Give this a go. Let's see. One thing I'm just going to touch on very briefly while we're here is our green. We also collaborate on our social media very much with working partners in Edinburgh. We recently did what do we call a green initiative with our close partners in Edinburgh. Some of them was the Royal Yacht Britannia and recognised other organisations who are very proactive in terms of green tourism. And it's really important that we work with our partners in the city through social media. And one of the items that we did was we have a Lumi, which is our Think Planet motto. And we had various locations where he could be located in the city, from the castle to the Royal Yacht Britannia. And it was a very successful partnership. And those are the things that we need to work on, particularly for ourselves. We also did where you could win concierge for a day. Concierge, we did a competition where you actually had one of our concierge guys for the full day. They picked you up. We worked with partners in the city, and it was a full day's experience. We did their washing for them. We took them out for lunch. We did some treatments, and it was a full day experience with your concierge. Trike Tours also were involved with us. We took them on a tour around the city, and that's great engagement. Not just point of view that it was a winner of a competition, but it was working with partners in the city, and also it created a lot of buzz within the social media community. So I hope that's given you a little bit of an insight. My apologies, it's not quite connecting with what I have here, but I hope you find it of use and information. If you'd like any more information on Tweet Dreams or anything that we have spoken about, I'd be more than delighted. Thank you very much.
Hi everybody, I'm Cathy Malone. Probably most people know that. I'm not usually up on the stage, I'm usually down there organising everybody else. But I run the technology programme, and last year I was lucky enough to attend an e-tourism conference in San Francisco, and that's where destinations come together to share their ideas, best practice on digital marketing, and find out what's coming next. They had a great section called Steal This Idea. So I have actually stolen this idea for you. And hopefully we will get that one.
Fairfax County, Virginia, home to world-class shopping, out-of-this-world museums, and the residence of one very famous founding father. Problem was, Fairfax County didn't have a voice. Someone to tell the world about all the wonderful things Fairfax has to offer. Someone who will make people stop and listen. Well, who better to be that someone than Fairfax County's most famous resident, George Washington, and a couple of his closest friends, Thomas Jefferson and Ben Franklin. And what better way to reach people than on the one screen that never leaves their side? That's right, the Founding Fathers are going mobile.
That's a long time to hold your breath. Oh, hey, thanks for scanning me. My name is George, and yeah, I'm a little famous. First president, founding father, all that good stuff. But what really ups the awesomeness is where I live. Fairfax County, Virginia.
By using iconic imagery of our good friends George, TJ, and Ben, with that ubiquitous QR code, we sent a very engaging and instantly recognizable message out to the masses. And we started in New York City.
Well, hello there! You scanned me, didn't you?
long time to hold your breath. Fairfax County, Virginia.
Our street teams caused quite a stir, and we left our founding fathers in key locations throughout the city to keep the buzz going. But the founding fathers, being who they are, just had to make their way to Philadelphia, and right here in Washington, D.C.
If you're getting on or off the metro, you might notice these new signs, pictures of the founding fathers with QR codes over their mouths. Luke and Krista Pepin of San Diego noticed them right away.
I was like, what is that? And I kind of wanted to see because it was like a cool poster and I wanted to see what it was about.
It's all part of a new Visit Fairfax tourism campaign that kicked off this month.
The founding fathers were talking, the news media was buzzing, and socially, folks were really liking. As a result of our campaign, the Visit Fairfax Facebook page racked up a 2,711% increase in total post reach, a 1,000% increase in new page likes, and a 1,463% increase in lifetime engaged users. People saw, scanned, and laughed to the tune of nearly 16 million media impressions. Street team dominance in New York City, engaging out-of-home creative, an interactive mobile experience, and a socially viral success, all wrapped up in one chatty little campaign.
But what I do have is our own street team here today. So 3 of the boys who work with me will be going around with the posters, and you can have a chance. And if you have got the QR code downloaded, you need to see these talking posters because I think it's an absolutely brilliant idea. They used it at a destination level. I think individual businesses could use it really effectively.
Okay, so we're coming towards the end. I'd just like to thank our speakers there, Tessa, Damien, Andrew, Lorna and Cathy. As I said before, it's a difficult job to do in 5 minutes, something which you could easily talk for hours and hours. So thank you very much for that. Sparked a lot of interest, I'm sure. It's good to, again, see that these things are actually all within reach and things that we can do now. So I'm just going to wrap up. There's a lot of words that we've heard constantly today. Storytelling, communications, user experience, behind the scenes, content, video, mobile. We've heard it at a strategic level. We've heard it at an operational level. We've heard inspirational talks. We've heard talks that can spark conversations here and now. And we've heard it at global level and local level. And actually, I think that last one's quite interesting because Edinburgh is the place where the very term think global, act local was coined by Thomas Geddes, the father of city planning. And actually, it's quite interesting for me, this is a total tangent, but Mary Stopes is also from Edinburgh, the mother of family planning. There must be something about planning in Edinburgh's DNA. So those are things which we hope will spark some inspiration and some conversations over lunch. I'd just like to say a number of thanks here now. I would like to thank the Scottish Enterprise team, especially Cathy and Anne-Marie, and even though she's not in the room, she's just run out, I think, to sort out the posters. This is Cathy's last conference because she's retiring from Scottish Enterprise. And I know anybody's been involved with her and the work that she's done over the entire technology program for ETAG will join with me in giving her a vote of thanks if she was here. But let's say, oh, there she is. Good. Thank you. So I'm sure we'll get a chance to buy you a drink sometime. Maybe Jukers? No, that's a different one entirely. I don't have any favourites. I'd like to thank the Sheraton team, Tristan and his team here, who've supported us consistently. I'd like to thank our IT team down in the bottom corner. Thank you for them. And all our speakers, especially to Nick and Terry today. It's very good to have sometimes an outside perspective on our work. So just in conclusion, that's everything going to be finished in here, but we have our exhibition stands that will be up over lunch, and again, encourage you to go around. You've heard some of them speak, you haven't heard others. Go around, just have a chance to network. We will actually have 3 demos over the lunch period. They will be announced over the PA, and if you see a purple umbrella, follow that to the area. And we'll have ADS, who are introducing their new nugget-sized eye sign. We'll have For Where I Am, which will introduce you to their patented communications technology, which enables organizations to target digital messaging. And we'll have Macleod Media, a digital marketing agency with a difference. I won't say what the difference is, but each of those will take place in the exhibition area. On your tables, you've got a feedback form. We really need you to complete this because it'll shape what we do next. With Cathy departing, we need to shape what happens next. So please fill in the form. And again, to help you, encourage you, we're offering 2 tickets, 2 festival tickets of your choice to one of the 12 incredible festivals, and blah, 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 blah. And we'll draw that at some point in the future. So we're now going to break for lunch. Keep networking. Thank you to everyone for making this such a great event. And I'm going to leave you with a question to ponder over lunch. You will have seen in one of Terry's videos the line, "Not all those who wander are lost." That's actually a video sign, neon sign, in Edinburgh. Where? Thank you.